Okay, good morning. So, here I am in the Alley Pond Park, which was formed by the terminal moraine of the last glaciation 10 to 20,000 years ago. And what's left behind as a direct consequence of the glacier, of the terminal moraine of the glacier, was a lot of stuff called loess, L-O-E-S. It's some silty material with lots of broken down minerals that weren't chemically decomposed. And what that means is that these woods are rich. Their soils are rich, extremely rich. And what you have as a direct consequence is this forest mainly composed of oaks, hickories, and tulip trees. Right? And if right now raining upon me are some tulip tree fruit, this is like, for example, here, this is a nice old one from last year. Let me see if I can find one of the new ones that's been falling on me for the last couple of minutes. Here's something. Turn on the light. This one's getting some sort of fungus. Here you have remnants of a tulip tree leaf. Okay. Here is some fruit. Oh, this is a hard one. Can't do that with one hand. Alright, so this is an invasive species that should probably recognized from common plantings along the streets, in city squares, city parks, and look at that. It's really taken over the understory ground. This is Pterohelix, English ivy, and it's got a couple of forms of leaves. So you don't always recognize it by the leaf shape, but what you can recognize, what you can use to recognize it, is the white veins that go through the lobes of this palmately shaped leaf. Okay, and it's a vine, and it takes over grounds. It sometimes grows up trees. Right. Here I have found another plant. This is a native. I showed this one at the trip to Oakland Lake, which is part of this park as well. It's about a mile north of us, or half a mile. And this is jump seed, or maybe sometimes called Johnny Jump Up. Let's see if it's ready this time. In the last video, I tried to get these seeds to jump away from me. No, that's not ready. We'll give it another couple of weeks, maybe. Well, failed attempt. Let's try this one. Try and try again, as they say, right? Yeah, these are, when they're nice and dry, that's when it works. Yeah. Anyhow, the understory is still dominated, fortunately, by one of our native bushes, which is the spice bush. Okay, let's see if we can find a nice example. Here's a hickory, by the way. Nice compound leaf. Yeah. Compound leaf with alternate arrangement of the leaves. Okay. Alright. This obovate leaf, upside down egg, obovate to lanceolate, kind of pointed at the bottom, belongs to the spice bush. The spice bush is named such because if you ever find this and you take the leaf off, let's see if I can get a... Okay, take the leaf off and you crush it and you stick it up your nose, you're going to smell the smell of lemon pledge. It's really, really pleasant. Anyway, one of the ways you can recognize it, besides the smell, is at this time of the year, you get these little orange to red fruit. Okay. And it's, again, an alternate leafed plant, alternate arrangement of the branches and the leaves. It's a shrub, stays about under 6 feet tall, and you should be able to recognize that the next time you go for a jog in the forest. Okay, so there's some more. Yep. Some more spice bush. It's got those nice little roundish buds at the base of the leaf, and you can see that they're alternate, so that's a giveaway. Cute little guy. Here's a cute little spice bush. Spice bush. Lindera benzoin. So the spice bush is Lindera benzoin. Okay, and I'm looking for that beech tree I promised you. So that would be BEECH. Beech tree. There you go. Okay, nice dentate. Dentate margin, not too prominent though. Gives it kind of a wavy characteristic. One of the things you can always count on to identify this guy are these pointed buds. Not too sharp, but they look sharp. And this is in the Fagaceae, which is the family that holds the oak trees. Okay. Alternate arrangement of the leaves. Okay, the underside of the leaf. Okay, very shiny. Nice pinnate venation. Okay, so this is a pretty major component of this forest type. Oh, look at that. Looks like chicken of the woods, maybe? Let's take a look. Maybe not. No, actually something else entirely. Alright. So here are some nice berries of the spice bush. Lindera benzoin. Okay. Yeah. I hope you all get out there someday and take a smell of this plant. It's really good. So here's something that at first glance you might call a maple. I wouldn't blame you. Look at the leaves. It's palmate. It's got a maple shape, right? But when you look closely, you'll see it's got opposite leaves. These fruit are definitely not samaras, right? They're little berries. And then, let's see if I can get a nice close-up. Look at those leaf buds with those stipules, those little leaf-like extensions. All right, so this is a viburnum acerifolia. Right? Okay, and that's maple leaf viburnum. That's the common name, acerifolia, viburnum acerifolia. It's a really pretty one, and it's very common native of our understory. And just growing on the opposite side of the trail is this highly invasive rose, Rosa multiflora. It's characterized by being relatively short in stature. It's about no taller than 6 feet. It's got that typical rose leaf morphology. Okay, opposite leaflets. This is one leaf, and little tiny thorns on the stems. So close up of that. Okay, it's not too menacing, but what it is that it takes over. It takes over the forest floor. Let's see if I can get a wide shot of this. Okay, all of this, that's all Rosa multiflora. And it's got little red berries, little red fruit that will attract the birds, and they'll eat it, and they'll spread it. Okay, so here I'm actually standing in the edge of a pond, which has been taken over by this plant, which is Decadon verticillatus. Okay, this one is in the loosestrife family. This is the swamp loosestrife, maybe. Not the invasive purple loosestrife, although it has those purple to magenta flowers as well. And anyway, I thought I was recording, but don't want to go there. Too far for me. Okay, let's see if I can get you the fruit without falling into the muck and drowning. Anyway, here we go. Oh shoot. Here you can see lance-shaped leaves. Here are the fruit. Okay. And they're axillary, so they are coming out towards the end of the branches, but not only terminal, but also along the stem. Okay, so they'll have those purple leaves, and I wanted to show purple flowers. And what I wanted to show you was this one as well. This is the sweet gum that I was keying out on a previous video, and this is one of the characteristics I was hoping to show you, but didn't quite get a chance. These are the corky ridges, which are so characteristic of this species. All right, they just break off real easy, but they're secondary growth, right? I don't know what the purpose of it is, but there you go. If you see a tree with a star-shaped leaf like this, and it has corky ridges, you know you have sweet gum. Of course, also the fruit will help. Anyway, this native Decadon has taken over this kettle pond. This is a kettle pond left behind by the action of the glaciation event, the last glaciation event. And the glaciation event left an impression in the ground and deposited lots of silt, fine silt, which, of course, waterproofs the floor a bit. So whatever rainwater you get accumulates. A lot of kettle ponds, especially the really big ones, are deep enough to hit the water table, so water comes out and you get these permanent lakes. These are more along the lines of ephemeral lakes or ponds, excuse me, and they tend to dry out. Although this one's big enough to maintain water most of the year. Right. Okay, so anyway, at the edge of the pond, there's New York fern. Okay, New York fern you can always tell because it's a fern that's tapered at both ends. Here it tapers off and then near the base again. Alright, so that's a pretty common species for this area. It's a member of the aster family. And this is the white wood aster. Eurybia, I believe it's Eurybia divaricata. Anyway, look that up. Okay. Oh yeah. So remember with these guys, you have here the white parts are the ligulate ligules or ligulate flowers. Okay, and then in the center we have the head flowers. Right, so you have the ray flowers or ligules, and the head flowers in the center. So this plant, mostly hairless, you have the stem that kind of goes zigzags a little bit, not too much, and the leaves at the bottom are, this one's not easily seen, but here you can see it's a little bit cordate, so it has little lobes that extend beyond the bottom of the leaf, and dentate. Let's take a look at this. Okay, and you see those things that are splitting into two, those are the pistils. Right, not the anthers. This is weird about this family, that the anthers are not the ones that extend far away from the flower. They're not pointing out of the flower. It's the pistils that are doing that in this case. So if you look at most of the other flowers around here, they have the pistils. Sorry, they have the pistils further in, but the anthers are sticking out, and this is the opposite. Okay. Isn't that nice? Moving on. Let's see what we got. Okay, some more of the beech tree. Nice deep venation. Some oaks, probably red oak. Here's a beech tree. That one over there with the smooth bark is a beech tree. So, for example, this is all beech. Okay, Look how smooth and gray that bark is. This is also known as the graffiti tree. People who are in love and today are split apart, back in the day would write their names and declare their everlasting love, but probably split up by now. Oh, and look at this. Under the beech tree is an obligate parasite of the beech tree, and these are beech drops. Looks like little twigs. They just look like little twigs, but these are obligate beech tree parasites. They are directly attached to the roots of the beech tree. We've got nice purple flowers. Quite haven't opened yet. Isn't that beautiful? See if there's something. See if there are any that are open. Okay, there it is. Almost open, almost at anthesis when the flowers open. This is, but notice it's got no green parts. Notice this plant has no green parts. It's because it's achlorophyllus. It is an obligate parasite of the American beech tree. Doesn't need to photosynthesize at all. So it's able to grow on the forest floor where very little sunlight reaches. Beautiful purplish flowers and typical of the Orobanchaceae morphology. So here I found a really nice, some people consider it a spring ephemeral, but as you can see it's still around in the fall, the end of summer. Fall's in like 2 days. Can't get it to focus. This is Jack in the Pulpit. It's got a relatively long stem, 3 leaves or leaflets, and this is 1 leaf actually, the whole thing. Okay, and maybe I can show you the marginal vein. This is the in the Araceae, just like the Pelcandra virginica that I showed you in the Oakland Lake video, and they both have that marginal vein characteristic. This would be the one plant. Okay. There's another leaf. And sometimes we're lucky and we find the red fruit or the infructescence in the fall. But I've been looking, I see quite a few individuals of this plant and don't see any fruit. The problem is that a lot of people like to pick up the flowers. The flowers are quite distinctive. Look up Jack in the Pulpit, you'll be able to see it. But the flowers come up in the spring and people walk by and maybe pick them out, and so there are no fruit. Here's another look at the Epiphagus virginiana. This one seems to have the flowers a bit open, like a little candy cane. Isn't that nice? And it's growing directly in between the roots of the American beech. There's a little bit of graffiti. Portrait's been a little bit abused by the Parks Department and people putting up signs, and yeah, it's nice. So I forgot to mention something about this particular image here when I was out in the field, and that is that yellow dot at the end of the flower, that is a capitate stigma. The stigma being at the end of the style on the other side of the ovary. So you got in the pistil, you got the ovary style stigma. Well, the stigma here is in this particular group of plants is capitate, and it's bright yellow, which is a great way to attract pollinators. Now, this particular species is known for having cleistogamous flowers at the bottom of the stem, little small flowers that don't open and don't expose the sexual reproductive parts of the flower to pollinators, but yet they produce seed. And then these flowers at the top end of the stems of the plant, they're the opposite condition, chasmogamous, which means they do open up and expose the stigma and the anthers to pollinators. And it's interesting to note that really people don't know if these chasmogamous flowers produce seed. There haven't been any real good studies about it. Here's a really nice Christmas fern. Okay, and we get closer, you see like the pinnules, or the little, I guess what you can call a leaflet, have little thumbs. It's like it has a leathery texture to it. Oh, look at those sori. Look at that. All right. Some poison ivy. So I'm here looking for some members of the wintergreen clade in the Ericaceae. Oh, right here. Oh, it's surrounded by poison ivy. It's probably what's let it survive so long. If you've heard of Pipsawissa, something like that, this is closely related. This is Pyrola americana. It's a nice one. It's pretty common in forests in our city. I'm going to try to look for wintergreen, the spotted wintergreen, which I know grows in this area. And oh, here's one. Here's one. There it is. It's a good one here. Spotted wintergreen. Pretty distinctive white veins. Conspicuous white veins on it. Here's the fruit. There's a nice Solomon seal. Oh, here's some more of that wintergreen. Real nice stand of it. Population. A good population here. I wonder what those crows are angry at. There was a raven earlier. Yeah, it's real nice. Almost looks like the invasive periwinkle, or Euonymus fortunei, the winter creeper. But you get those little fruits at the top, and it doesn't spread out, doesn't take over. It's pretty easy to identify. There's a population here. Oh, a little group there. This, a little bit more here. Real pretty one. All right.